Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name's Tim. This is Crooked River Homestead.
I've looked the devil square in his face, been a brother, a rebel, been scared and been brave. I do all I can to try and get home, but I can't make a promise on what I don't know.
And we got a hot one here today. It's supposed to be about 90 degrees. We're going to be trying to do most of our work inside some air-conditioned cabs on these machines today. And when I say we, I mean Brenda and I. Brenda's gotten pretty good with the tractor as far as getting around with it and being able to dump the bucket and whatnot. And so today I'm going to give her a new challenge, and that will be to see if she can load some dirt into the bucket and put it into the let's see if I can see it on the camera screen here, the Rock Grizzly, which is let me turn around. You can see the Rock Grizzly right there. I've got it on the bucket right now because we just took it out of the way. And let me explain what we're doing over here. We're just trying to get this area filled in this area down here, primarily because this is the low spot in here. So what our objective is to start pulling the dirt back from this area along the banking here. That was actually higher than way over here. It's not all the same level. There's some spots that are lower than others, but typically this is the lowest spot. So today, and what we've been working on is just slowly trying to get some of this other material on the edge here, bring it back. This is where ultimately we're going to be building, in this area here. And this is where we had the containers. Originally I pulled them back and they're over there now. That's high ground, and that's actually the height that we're going to be looking to make this whole area and down in this area too. Oh, horse flies. Horse flies are bad, and they're brave. So at any rate, that's our objective. The problem we're running into is, well, you might see, this used to be a gravel pit. And where we're standing now is actually about, I don't know, maybe 20 feet below where the ground used to be. And so they took out a lot of material here. I'm not sure how low they went. It's kind of odd. While I've been digging around, I found evidence that some of this might be fill, believe it or not. And I find that kind of interesting. And how do I say that? Why do I say that? Well, I say that because as I was digging down at the other end over here, about 4 feet down, I dug up a car tire, not a wheel, just a rubber tire. Didn't look old, just you know, kind of modern day old buried tire. And I found some stumps and whatnot, so kind of interesting. But not a lot of that stuff, but the big thing that we're obviously dealing with is the rocks. And because we need this area in here to pull back, we really don't want all the big rocks in there. So we have to take the time and remove them, which is why we purchased the Rock Grizzly. And it was built specifically for our tractor in terms of the size. It's a little bit bigger. It's the smallest one they sell for the homeowner. And he just modified it slightly for us, which we really appreciate. And we've been putting it to the test here and there. We haven't really used it a whole lot. It also has a screen for screening loam, but it's so wet in the spring when we tried to do it, it just wasn't working too well. The ground has to be somewhat dry to screen properly, and I was just getting clumping and whatnot. So today it's a little better. As I said, we're getting 90 degrees and it's been dry lately, so the dirt that we're scraping is still kind of damp, so it's not screening excellent, but it's not doing too bad. Let me show you how it's been working. My plan is, and I'll show you this in a minute, we've been digging a ditch along here, kind of like, I guess you could say, a big French drain. And that's because we needed a place to put all these rocks. I didn't want to just pile them up somewhere. They're just piling up all over the place, all over the property. We got piles of rocks all over the place. So I came up with the idea. I said, well, if we're going to need some more fill, why don't we dig a trench, and that'll give us a place to dump some rocks. So you can see some of them over here as we get to the top here. And we'll be able to use the material as we clean it out and put the rocks back in there. Very time consuming. Brenda was out here yesterday hand picking rocks and putting them in the bucket and then driving the tractor over and dumping them there while I'm driving around, smoothing, pulling back dirt, taking out the big ones that she can't pick up. And so I came up with another thought, is that instead of doing that, we are going to use this Bare Ironworks screener that we bought, rock screen. And what I'm doing is basically the same thing. Instead of hauling the rocks back on that all the way over there, and because I need the fill over in this area here, I decided to go ahead and just dig a ditch. Takes maybe 2-3 scoops of this thing. And it's a big enough ditch that I can pull this rock screen up, and you're going to see how it works in a minute. And we just set it on the edge there. And then come over here, pick up some material, swing back over here, screen it out. And it's doing a pretty good job. It's nice for one, as I keep mentioning. It's going to be 90 today, so being in an air-conditioned cab is going to be nicer than getting outside and having to lift rocks like she did all day yesterday. And she's been doing right along. I have to be running the big equipment. Really, because of the cost per day, it's just imperative that I spend as much time inside that, getting work done as much as I can. And we're finally at our objective. Wiping bugs off me here, the mosquitoes and the horseflies. Our main objective for renting the equipment was to do this part of the property. We need to get this part of the property built up so that we can get our building in here. And it looks like an ominous task. It really does, and I think that's maybe one of the reasons a lot of people shied away from it. But I've taken some laser measurements around here. Of course, we spent the winter here, so I was able to really observe, make some really good observations in terms of the water. I've got the high water mark marked. The groundwater, that's the primary issue. The groundwater comes up. It's not so much the water that comes through the property, but as it's coming through, the water table just comes up to the point where it breaks the surface in spots. And so that's the big thing that we're trying to deal with the most. So I know where those spots are. I know where the high spots are. Like I said, we marked our well this winter to tell us, where's that well? It's over here, what the high water mark is. So our pump house is about 1/2 foot above the high water mark. And when I say high water mark, that's like probably we got to the high water mark, I think, for the first time in March, late March. And then it took a couple weeks to go down, maybe a few weeks. And then we had a couple rainy weekends in a row. Some of you may remember here on the East Coast. And it came back up and it went back down after a couple weeks. And it kept doing that, did that actually 4 times. Never broke the high water mark of the original March. Not to say that it will never, but we're obviously trying to plan ahead and think that, in the event that we had a situation. But the other thing too is we're also taking other preparations to give the water a place to go instead of being in places it doesn't need to be, if that makes any sense. And I've got to also keep in mind that after we get a building up here in this area, the roof is going to collect a lot of water. So, obviously this is our farm, our homestead. So we're going to find ways to try and use that water as much as possible, recycle it, collect it, recycle, whatever we can do to use that water, because like we're reaching June, July, and we know towards the fall, it dries right up. The water table drops way down. And I'm going to take a walk over here to the ditch, and we're going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, this was the original idea, was to kind of put a stone wall up here. And I thought, well, why not dig a ditch and give us a good base to start off with, if anything else, because we've got a lot of these really, really big rocks laying around here. And if we had to, we could line this whole hillside with them. Not that we need to. This is full of raspberry bushes, flowers. It's beautiful. Needs to be cleaned up with some brush I took down earlier. But basically, this trench here goes down to probably, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 feet in some spots, and it goes all the way down the property. Well, not the property line, but this part of the property. And basically what was happening before is this area was actually higher than this area over here. So when everything started to melt and the water table rose, this area got wet and this area stayed kind of dry. It didn't have any place to go, basically. So basically what I'm doing is we're just going to pull back and grade it so that one, we can use the material up in here, and also be able to give the water a place to go. Over here, it's much deeper down on that end over there, and there, as I said, we're just dealing with a lot of rocks, but we have the equipment to deal with it. We're not having any issues in terms of getting the ones that we can, even these bigger ones down here. Yeah, it's been fun to learn with the excavator here. I'm by far not a professional. I've rented them before, obviously, but I don't swing it around like a real professional, but that's why it's taken me a couple months to get this job done. In the meantime, we're getting a lot of other things done too, so it's not like nothing else is getting done. We're busy every day, and that's kind of the reason we just don't put out, or I personally don't make that many videos. Brenda's been doing a great job trying to get them out, and we appreciate all the effort she's doing and everything that you folks are watching and commenting. And as I said, we're just going to try and do our best to keep you informed as we go along. We're under a little bit of a push because we only got the excavator now for till the end of July, of course, unless we decide to extend it again. But basically, the way it's going right now and the amount of material that I can move with it, I've got a horsefly right on my screen. And basically, we can get a lot done in a day or two. It's pretty amazing with the right equipment. And between the tractor and the excavator, we got the dump truck over here. We've been using that to move some rocks also. That worked pretty good, but that was when Brenda was picking them up by hand, putting them in the bucket, dumping them in the truck, and I just hate seeing her work that hard if we got equipment to do something better. So that's a quick tour. I'm getting bit by horseflies and deer flies or whatever they are. So I'm going to get back in the equipment here and get going again. But I just wanted to make this quick little video, kind of show you. We're going to continue here. We'll make some video about using this here when Brenda comes out in a little bit. Right now, I'd say if you look in this hole right here, I'd say that's working pretty nice. And we appreciate the company for giving us a good deal on this one right here. We're not sponsored by them or anything, but this thing's going to come in handy over the next 5-10 years and maybe beyond. Who knows? As they say in I think their video, it's kind of maybe a family heirloom. Who knows? It'll stay with the property or something. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. We'll get some more of us doing some work here, and appreciate everybody watching, subscribing, and commenting. Talk to you later. Bye.
When you're tired and worn, and you feel like you can't go on, I'll be there to put one foot in front of the other. When you've lost your way, oh, the first time your heart breaks, I'll pick up the pieces. I'll keep praying to heaven and fighting like hell